Hello, Steve Arts 89. Well, I know I shouldn't have watched another Doomcock video, but I did. Supposedly there are Indiana 5 leaks. And of course these leaks perfectly suit him, perfectly feed into the narrative that, he feeds off and feeds his base. Supposedly there are two... supposedly his leaks gave him some story details about the new Indiana Jones film, which was interesting. Supposedly Indiana Jones is at school like normal, and some guys come to talk to him about an artifact. It's the 60s. He's sort of near the end of his career. And these guys, do they steal something? Or either way, they end up chasing them, him and a female student, Phoebe Waller-Bridge or whatever her name is. And these guys use these ancient artifacts to open a time portal. They go back in time. Indy and the girl, I'm just going to say the girl because her name's too long, follow him back in time, back to the era of the Nazis. And apparently we're going to see young Indiana Jones and current Indiana Jones fighting together. Now, whether they de-age Indy or whether they just get another actor, because the talk is that they are going to, after this film, do an Indiana Jones TV series starring the guy who's going to play the young Indy. So that would be interesting. But the gossip is there's two rumours aside from the time travel and everything, which does fit in with a lot of the things that have been leaked. Now, Mr. H said some of these things had been leaked as well. Stuff about Nazi experiments and I can't remember the name of it, not the portal, but it was just some really freaky sci-fi stuff the Nazis were working on were going to be in the film. And then supposedly that was just leaked to, put people off the trail. But Doomcock seems to think it's true. And at least this version is slightly different from Mr. H's version. And it does seem to be actually at least plausible in that it would be a good story. It could actually work, and it would be a smart move to actually introduce a young Indy who they can then spin off into a TV series on Disney+, blah, blah, blah. So all that's interesting. But then the ending was the controversy. Supposedly there's two endings. One makes sense. Basically, old Indiana dies because Harrison Ford wants his characters to die so he doesn't have to be asked about playing them ever again. And young Indy goes on with the student, the girl, and apparently they go on into the TV series together, which makes perfect sense. It's a full, proper, total ending to the series, which might be why Spielberg didn't want to be involved. He didn't want to kill Indy. But Harrison Ford would love to do it, I'm sure, just like he'd love to kill Han Solo. But the other ending is the scary one, and it just sounds too woke to be true. It sounds like something he's just feeding to scare his base, to get them riled up and, stay angry. Supposedly, old Indy and young Indy die, and the girl picks up his hat, his fedora and whip, and she goes on to be the new Indy, eliminating the indies that we have, because those indie films apparently, I think he goes back before the other indie films when he's younger than he was in those movies, I think. But either way, there's a whole bunch of adventures Indy won't be having because he died in the past when he wouldn't have, because obviously he was old enough to go back into the past. So I can't believe for a second that would be the ending. I can't believe for a second they would do that. I can't believe anyone would believe they would do that. It's just on the nose. I reckon someone wrote that just to get people like Doomcock going, because that is their worst nightmare. A whammon killing, Indiana Jones and walking off with his whip. It's just too perfect. So I don't believe for a second that's happening. But I do actually think there's a good possibility the other story points might actually be part of it. That sounds fun. Although, yeah, we still have the problem of old Indy. Okay, we've got young Indy can do all the stunts and be the main hero guy, but we still have old Indy following him around, trying not to look old for a whole movie. I was thinking more looking back in time and showing Indy when he was younger through memory, or telling things that are relevant to the situation or the story, and just having Indy sort of play a smaller role in the film, and so there's less pressure on him to be the action hero and spend a lot of time doing stuff like that. So I'm not sure actually if he goes back and then the whole movie it's him and a young Indy, that's just going to make him look older. I don't know, but it's interesting. But I found it funny. I was watching it. I'm like, oh, did you make this up just because it's so perfect? That second ending is just so what you need to feed your base and, you know, get people to stay angry and carry on and cause a stink and lots of clicks and everything. So I don't know, did he make it up or did he actually get it? Did someone actually give it to him? And did they make it up just for him to feed to him? I don't know. It's all very interesting. I'm finding the indie thing interesting, and I'm going to go back and watch the films. I have all 4 films, but I haven't actually watched them since I bought the box set, and I haven't watched the 4th film since I saw it in the cinema. And so many people are talking about the film. I want to watch it again to see if it was, you know, as bad as they say. I don't think it was. I think I kind of liked it, but I don't know. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.